How you doing today? How's it going today? Hey, Cynthia, how are you? Hey, Branson, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
So you probably had that class, huh? Hey, Cynthia, how are you today? Hey, Cynthia, how you doing today? I can't hear you, Cynthia. Cynthia, sorry, I see the chat. Sorry.
I think she said her phone is, I mean, her webcam is messing up.
Yeah, I just saw the chat. Hey, John, how are you today? Hey, John Arnold.
Hey Dennis, how you doing today?
So far, so good. How about you?
Doing good, doing good.
All right, glad to hear it. Cynthia is having problems with her webcam. So I'll start the tap dance to keep you all entertained.
Go for
I can't tap. My mother was a tap dancer.
it.
She used to do something called the military tap, and she somehow swung her leg in a circle. I don't know. I can't remember, but apparently that was a big deal back in the day. I think tap dancing's pretty hard. I'm surprised that it died off the way it did. I haven't seen much of it in a long time. Makes a lot more sense than some of the dances I see.
Isn't that the truth?
So Cynthia, how you doing? Any progress? Huh. Okay. Well, we'll give it a few more minutes, and if we can't pull it off, we'll reschedule Cynthia for another time. Sorry about this. While Cynthia's still trying to see if she can get her system working, I don't know how familiar the group is with artificial intelligence and machine learning, which kind of goes along with it in many cases. And the idea is to take data, particularly in the case of e-commerce, it could be shopping data, and try to optimize what products you offer, when it's shown to the visitor on your site or where it's shown. All of that kind of stuff can be informed by artificial intelligence, not just somebody's opinion about what they should do, which also is viable. But at large scale, artificial intelligence enables systems to be responsive to the users. And there's all kinds of horror stories about AI and HAL, the computer, going way back the movies. But overall, it's been useful to many as a way to improve your service to your customers and your ability to respond to them. So that's what it's about. Cynthia is a professor at Wayne County Community College. They have the first artificial intelligence course, I believe, in the state of North Carolina. I'm not aware of anyone else teaching it. I could easily be wrong about that. But I thought that it would be great to hear from Cynthia as somebody who really knows the subject. And but I don't know that we're going to be able to pull it off today. Give it a few more minutes and see where we go. How's everyone doing today? Anything exciting happening in the world that I don't know about, or happening in your world that I should know about? Hopefully everybody enjoyed Andy yesterday, and I will get his presentation put up on our Facebook group and his contact information. Any thoughts about the Vince Lombardi of consumer product goods, Andy Galinsky?
I like how he can look at any product and he can just find something to bring out that product and make it into just a singular idea that you just long to have. And he showed that with other products, which is hard to do because it had me really thinking about what I do and how to really get it down into a sentence or two that makes a person kind of jump to it like Coca-Cola. So
yeah. What do you think, Ruth?
Oh, I thought he was fabulous. I just wanted to drop everything and go do the business part of what he was saying. He was very inspiring. Thank you for bringing him.
Well, keep in mind, he is a mentor in our program. So if you want to reach out to him and connect with him, you can. And, it's up to his schedule. But he's worked with a lot of our teams in the past. He's really good. He can do something in 5 minutes and take me an hour to figure out. So, that's what I like about it. And I think, every time, I've known him for a long time. I've known him for probably 10 years or more. And what's amazing to me is how positive and upbeat he is, no matter what. I just find it inspiring, and I wish I had his personality in that sense. So sometimes I get a little negative, and like all of us, I think, but he doesn't. He also he really believes that any one of us could come up with the next big thing, and I think he's right. Who's to say? that he's not. So I will be throwing that out there for everybody to connect with him. I promise. His PowerPoint is worth going through again. I think it's really, really helpful in a lot of ways. And I think that, there's just a lot of benefit to going through that. I use it all the time and have for years. He's basically had a similar version for a long time. He updates it. But it's really helpful. And also keep in mind that here's a guy whose job it was the last 10 years was to actually buy brands. That's what he did. When he talks about M&A, he's talking about mergers and acquisitions. He was the guy who bought, Burt's Bees for Clorox. He was the executive on the deal. So let's see if Cynthia's having better luck. Hey, Cynthia, can we hear you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can't see you, however, at this point. Oh, now I can. There you are. All right.
I got it to work.
Let me make you the guest host so you can share. Yay. All right, there we go. Okay, everybody, I'll stop with my tap dancing. Meet Cynthia Kaye. She is the professor at Wayne County Community College who developed the first artificial intelligence course in the state, to my knowledge. And she's going to be sharing with us what she knows about AI and particularly how it might apply to those of you here. So I'm going to turn it over to her. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Hi. As you said, my name is Cynthia Kaye. There's one correction I would like to make to that statement. I'm not a professor.
Okay.
I don't have a doctorate, just an instructor.
Okay.
But yes, I helped develop the artificial intelligence program at Wayne Community College. It is the first AI program for community colleges in the state and the second in the nation. The only other community college that has an AI program is in Arizona, in Maricopa County. So whole other side of the coast.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I think that's very cool.
Thank you. All right. So as far as like what I have to say about AI, I kind of want to go over like what the what our program at Wayne Community does, because that will kind of, the way it's set up, it's good for jumping off to talking about more about AI and how it influences everything. So let me share my screen.
That's working. Very good.
So here is Wayne Community's artificial intelligence page. And this goes and talks about how huge of an industry AI is, predicted to grow into a over $100 billion industry in just 4 years. The thing about AI is that it is everywhere. You have used AI today, and you are actually currently using AI, and you don't even know it. The Zoom backgrounds, you know how it's putting the background behind you?
Yeah.
That's utilizing computer vision so that it knows what you are, and it can cut everything else out behind you. That's artificial intelligence. So it's right here, it's right now. Anytime you've ever talked to Siri, if you said like, Siri, send my mom a text, that's artificial intelligence. Not only is, so when people think about artificial intelligence, typically they think of like, robots or androids or personal assistants. And while those things, yes, do use artificial intelligence, they aren't like the thing that artificial intelligence is. They just utilize artificial intelligence. So Siri, when you're talking to her, when you say the words, she's utilizing natural language processing, which means she can understand what you're saying, she can interpret your words. And then once she understands what you're saying, she gets the answer for you, and then she tells it to you. And that is also a form of natural language processing. When she speaks to you, that's speech synthesis. So she's using all types of AI. So let's kind of go over what kind of courses are that we have set up for this course. Hold on. There we go. Now it wants to work. So this very first semester, the classes that I'm teaching right now is Artificial Intelligence Fundamentals. And what that course does is it gives a very broad overview of AI at kind of a just below surface level, so that you have a better understanding of, what exactly machine learning is, what computer vision is, what all these things are. So it's kind of like a charcuterie board of different artificial intelligence topics that gives you an understanding so that you could carry on a conversation about it. And down the line, when they get to the fourth semester, that is when we get to the really intense, actually creating artificial intelligence models for use. So we have Artificial Intelligence 1, we have Machine Learning 1, and Chatbot Programming. So like in chatbot programming, you'll be creating chatbots, kind of like Siri. Like, she is a very advanced chatbot. And then as the students go to the fifth semester, they get into the even higher level AI classes, and they're creating even more sophisticated models. So as far as, because this is an agricultural group, am I correct in saying that? It's focused on like agriculture and things like that?
No, this is basically rural small businesses. So they're cut across.
Rural small businesses.
Yeah, agriculture. We do have some folks with agriculture. We have some food makers, especially food makers. We've got some retailers, a wide variety.
Mm-hmm. So I think I was thinking agriculture because I saw some of the businesses were agricultural. A lot of them were. But AI can and is being used in any kind of field you can imagine. It is being used in businesses. It is being used in agriculture. It's being used in banking, in medicine, in libraries, just anything you can think of, AI is being utilized for it. And what they're getting the AI to do depends on, what the field is. For example, in agriculture, oftentimes AI is being used to identify what, like crops that have diseases. So it uses computer vision, it scans the fields, and if it sees a plant that is, looking sickly, it identifies, there's a sick plant, you need to get rid of that one. It's also being used to monitor like soil levels and like pH levels and fertilizer, the quality of the soil is being used there. And for just any general type of business, it's being used to, a lot of times it's used for advertising to make sure that they're reaching their target demographics. So what it does is if we're using it for advertising, it makes guesses about the people who shop there, and it's like, okay, I bet this person would respond well to this advertisement. So that's how artificial intelligence is being used for businesses for advertising. Really, anything you can think of, if you want to make it just a little bit easier, you can probably utilize AI to help do that. That's my general big overview of AI. Was there anything specific you wanted me to say about AI?
Well, I think I'd be interested, and I think the group would be interested in anything you can think of that is applicable to maybe small online businesses, whether it's the use of chatbots or the use of, as you just described, advertising. What are some of the use cases that these folks could be aware of?
Definitely chatbots. I would say if you're running an online business, you want to invest in a chatbot, using a chatbot. Because I have worked, small business retail. I've had the customers come in and ask very inane, repetitive questions. And what chatbots can do, you can set them up so that they answer those really repetitive questions that customers frequently ask, like, what are your hours? How much does this cost? Where can I find this? What's the address? Such things like that. But then the chatbot also utilizes, if it finds a question it can't answer, then it sends that question onto a human, and the human can answer that question. That saves the workers a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of, not having to type out the same response 500 times, which gets exhausting. And their energy is saved for answering more complicated questions. So chatbots are very widespread, I would say, among businesses online. When I go online shopping, after a few seconds, a little, notification will pop up in the bottom right corner that says, have any questions? Just type here and ask me. So yeah, it is very widespread.
How do they access that? If they wanted to offer that on their site, what would be the process that somebody would go through? Because I'm personally not familiar with, I know what a chatbot is, but I don't know how to get one.
So there's many, many different ways to get a chatbot. There are, of course, you can build one from scratch. If you know how to program, you can, build it from scratch, code it yourself. But there are also lots of services out there that they don't build it for you, but they make it a whole lot easier too. They set up the framework, you give it the questions that you typically would want answered, and it goes from there. Amazon Web Services has one. Google has a chatbot making service. I believe there are a lot of websites out there that, like website building services out there that have an integrated chatbot feature. There isn't like one specific way to integrate a chatbot into your website, but depending on how you created your website, if you just look up, like, say you created it with Weebly, like how to put a chatbot in a Wix site or a Weebly site.
Okay. Is that expensive? Do you have any feel for a cost?
It's really going to depend on who you're getting the chatbot from and what you are expecting the chatbot to do and how many people are using it. So if you have 100,000 people every single day using your chatbot, depending on who you get it from, it's probably going to cost a little bit. But if your chatbot is used, a couple times a week, it's not going to be egregiously expensive. Like I said, different services offer different packages. If you create it from scratch, of course, it's going to be free. Yeah. But if you create a chatbot through an already existing service, they have their terms, they have their pricing there.
Do you have any feeling about how consumers view chatbots? Are they happy with them? Do they like them or they dislike them? Any feel for that?
I would say nowadays, people like them because they don't even know that they're talking to chatbots. Because in the past, we've made so many huge strides with artificial intelligence. A lot of the times the chatbots, it really is like talking to a person. Just the way that it answers questions, the way that it formats its sentences. In the past, chatbots could be frustrating because they were clunkier. They just weren't as sophisticated. And so I would say in the past, people got frustrated interacting with them. But nowadays, I would say a large percentage of people who interact with chatbots don't even realize that they are robots. They think they're just talking to a person.
I gotcha. Does it matter, like if you use Shopify as your website, or is it make any difference which platform you use for your e-commerce? As far as checkout?
I don't know the specifics about like which ones utilize it. I just know that there are chatbots and you can put them in websites. I don't know how every specific website platform offers their chatbots.
Can you use chatbots with social media? Like if you have a Instagram page or Facebook, is that something?
Yes, they can be used for Facebook. I've done it in the past. I couldn't tell you precisely how to do it like right now, but yes, it is definitely possible.
Oh, wow. Any questions from the group on the idea of a chatbot or other application for artificial intelligence? Branson, any thoughts?
Ironically, my new software has artificial intelligence that does the EQing of vocals. So it takes out like 30, 40 minutes of work that I used to have to do listening and re-listening, and takes me to a certain level. Then I can work from there. So the new software that I work with has, and I really was against artificial intelligence until I got the software, and it took part of my workload out.
Yeah, and you bring up an excellent point. That is what artificial intelligence really is about. It's a tool. Artificial intelligence is a tool, and this is the thing that I make sure my students know. Just like we invented the sewing machines so that we don't have to hand sew, just like we invented the cotton gin so we don't have to, pick the seeds out ourselves, we utilize technology to make our lives easier. We utilize AI to make our lives easier. Like he said, that saved him 30 minutes of work of, equalizing volumes. That's 30 more minutes he can spend actually working on the project himself. Artificial intelligence is used to make our lives easier.
Can you comment? So some of our folks have inventory, like Ruth Taylor has jams, lots of different jams and stuff. How would someone like Ruth use artificial intelligence with like a whole series of products that she makes, jams in her case?
So let's see. If you want to use it for inventory, I would say artificial intelligence, using it for being able to like quickly search through your inventory and things like that, it would work better on like very large scales. Because if you have, say, an inventory of, 100 jars of jam. I don't know your specific, how your business operates, but this is for an example. A human can fairly easily just, inventory that. But when you're talking about you have, thousands of jars of jam, it's like, okay, now we need kind of an assistant to help categorize these, help organize these, things like that.
How about in terms of like learning about customer behavior? Is that a use case for AI where you kind of figure out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
There's something that is fairly new in the field of AI. If you've ever gotten like a review on your product or on your service, AI can now, certain AI models can now read the text, understand the sentiment of it. And that is very important for, people who are offering a service, because say you get, thousands of reviews a day, it can be hard to go through every single one of them and say, okay, this person enjoyed the service, this person was kind of upset. The AI can summarize them, it can go over, it can say, okay, in general, people were pretty happy about this product. People were kind of upset about this. It can definitely be used to analyze customer sentiment.
Okay. Do you in your class or in your experience, are there students or interns or people who are able to help companies like ours? Is there any kind of organization of that folks could say, hey, I'd love to talk to someone about doing this for my business?
So at the moment, because this is just the very first semester of this program, I don't believe that the students are quite ready yet. They haven't reached those like higher level classes where they're actually making models and training them and things like that. But definitely down the line, we will be producing students who will be knowledgeable about AI and able to utilize it and help others utilize it.
Yeah, what kind of jobs do these folks get in your research for your program? Where will they end up once they're done with all their courses?
So of course, you know, the tech industry, there's plenty of places for them to go there. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but Apple is coming to the Triangle area. So, you know, Apple assuredly uses AI. So that's a potential. But then it's used in artificial intelligence is used in banking. It's used in medicine. It's used so many places. So if you know how to use AI, it's a good ticket to so many different jobs.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have a question that might work? Fondell, what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I just placed in the chat. Occupationally, I use AI daily in medical coding and computer assisted coding, whereas the technology has the ability to read the documentation and extract particular diagnosis and procedures from a medical chart.
Very cool.
Yeah, that is what a lot of AI in the medical field is used for, is because there's so many like data points for every single patient. You know, their age, their height, there's so many different data points, and AI can help comb through them and extract the information that's really needed.
Oh, that's really cool. John, what do you think about artificial intelligence? I like the idea of somebody smarter than me. I'm tempted to use artificial intelligence just in general. But how about you, John? You got a lot of products, right?
Yeah, we do. I've got artificial intelligence.
Yeah, mine's pretend intelligence as opposed to.
Yeah, that's a better word, pretend.
Okay.
You know,
Go ahead.
a lot of people make that joke.
Yeah.
a lot of people make that joke.
Yeah. Kaye, what do you think for Opal's Candies? You see an application here on your website or in production, maybe?
You know, honestly, I don't know that we have enough traffic and enough conversation where the bot would benefit us or not. But I certainly thinking that it would be something that we could certainly work into moving forward for sure.
Well, you're going to be a lot larger after this class, so you know, I mean.
Amen to that. But yeah, so yeah, we may have to look at that sooner than later for sure.
Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in? Any thoughts on it?
So this is Ruth. IBM did have a trial version of IBM Watson, their AI tool. And what you could do is go out and define a problem. And then it was limited because it was free, but you could do some interesting analysis on, say you had a spreadsheet of results and you could go out and ask Watson to do some predictions for you. So it's pretty canned. And it's been a few years since I did it, but you know, if somebody's interested in playing with it, they could go to IBM's site and look up Watson.
Very cool. I like that. All right. Cynthia, what do you see as the future of artificial intelligence based on what you've seen so far and what you're reading about?
Well, the future of artificial intelligence. So what everyone kind of thinks, of course, you know, when they think of AI, they think of androids, think of robots. That's definitely a possibility for the future. That's something that has fascinated humankind for thousands and thousands of years, of having autonomous, you know, humanoids that aren't quite human. We've been fascinated by that since like the Roman times and probably even before that. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we start making huge strides towards androids and things like that.
Autonomous machines.
Hmm.
What about?
And definitely, oh, you go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead.
Self-driving cars is one that I'm really hoping for, because I hate driving, and I would love it if someone else would just do it for me. If I could afford it, I would buy a chauffeur. But robot is also great.
Yeah. What about talk a little bit about the ethics of AI? I think that's a subject that maybe spend a few minutes on.
Yes, that is actually my favorite, as like in the field of AI, is the ethics of it. So there's ethics on the side of are these systems human? Are they sentient? Do they deserve rights? So there's like a philosophical debate as to, if we have these robots who are very close to being human and doing these tasks, should they be given rights? Should they be given, breaks and things like that? So that's one like debate that's kind of ongoing. But as far as like one that's a really concrete thing in ethics is bias. So what that means is all like artificial intelligence models and machines, they're trained on data. They learn from the data, they learn and make predictions in the future. But depending on the data they are trained on, that will influence how they predict things. It's just like how humans learn. If you learn this is the way things are, you're going to assume that that is the way things are, and they get preconceived notions in their heads.
Yeah.
So a very important thing when training AI is to make sure that the data is it is diverse, it is like representative of different people, of different ages, of different, everything. If it's working with people, it needs to be fair. It needs to be free of if you're training a chatbot, it needs to be free of hateful speech. So it's just making sure that your data is clean and good and safe to use. Because if you train a model on bad data, you're going to get really bad AI.
Is there data sets available to our companies in our class that could help them in their business? What if it's by vertical? For example, Doug is in martial arts. Is there data sets on martial arts products that he could access and train a chatbot on?
I'm not sure specifically. There are data sets. There's large amounts of data sets out there. But as far as like specific ones for martial arts, I'm not certain. That's something, of course, is just, martial arts data sets. You look that up and see if it exists.
Yeah, but there is a lot of data sets in general. It's available to
yes.
people. One of the things I wondered about, since this is at this point, really the domain of really technically sophisticated people, is there bias that everything that's done is skewed toward people with those skills, and the people without those skills aren't necessarily accounted for, if I'm saying that correctly?
Are you saying like people getting into this field?
No, I'm
talking about
using the information from these data sets. If the data is pulled or created by technically savvy people, does it skew automatically toward those folks and leave a lot of regular people out of the data, if that makes sense?
I wouldn't think so. Let's say, some data scientists, some AI practitioners want to make a prediction on, the health of people living in North Carolina. So they are going to get data from the people who live in North Carolina. If they went and just got people who lived in Goldsboro and only got the people from Goldsboro, they would be really bad data scientists.
Yeah.
It's something that, the AI community at large has acknowledged. It's like, we need to make sure that we're getting good data. I'm sure there's a bad egg out there who just doesn't know how to collect good data, but I would say that the AI community tries its best to make sure its data sets are good and fair.
how much work is it to clean up data and make it usable? Is that a significant hurdle to using these data sets?
In the past, yes. Cleaning data is very, very time consuming. However, we have created AI models to help us, clean these data sets.
Awesome.
So we're now using AI to help us make more AI.
Wow, that's really cool. Because I've seen some of these data sets that need to be cleaned up. It was a few years ago, but I'm glad I didn't have to do it. Let me put it that way. So, any other questions before we let Cynthia go and on this subject of AI?
I have one on the like if you were to get a chat bot from Google or Amazon Web Services or something like that, how much of the questions and things would you have to input yourself?
So when I created the chatbot, because I've created a few through Google and through Amazon, I typed in the questions that I wanted. So I'm not certain if they do have some generic questions like already there, like, hi, how are you? Canned responses like that. As far as like specific questions, you would need to type in the questions that customers would be asking your business specifically. Say if you have a flower shop, you would need to answer the question, how much do roses cost? What flower should I get for my boyfriend? Things like that.
So Doug, does that answer your question?
Yeah. So if you had to put in a question yourself on that, well, just a second here. How flexible is the actual like customer's question to that? So
okay, I understand what you're saying now. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. In the past, chatbots were kind of frustrating to use. And that was because AI hadn't reached the sophistication that it has nowadays. So in the past, you would have to type in every single question the customer could possibly think of. So if they misspelled something, if they asked how much are carrots, but you typed in the question, how much do carrots cost? The chatbot could not figure it out. Even though it's, a one word difference, it could not figure it out. However, specifically in the AWS, was it AWS? In Google and Watson, I believe those are the chatbots, the services that I made chatbots in. It has come to the point where you can type in a question and the chatbot will, if the customer's question is close enough to it, it will be able to say, yeah, they probably mean this. So you won't have to type in every single possible thing that your customer would be saying. You just need to type in a few different variations instead of every variation.
Yeah, and isn't that called inference, where it infers the meaning?
Yes.
Okay. I'm proud of I knew a geeky word. Yay! That's it. That's all I got. Anyone else want to jump in here before we let Cynthia go? All right. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much. This is very, very helpful. And I think what I'm going to do is look up a few sources of chatbots, like you mentioned, AWS and Google and maybe Watson. And there may be some folks here in the class that are feeling optimistic that they could build one. We'll see if they may end up reaching out to you. Help! At any rate, thank you for coming today and chatting with us and giving us a look at a really exciting future. Congratulations on being the first in North Carolina on this subject.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for, letting me talk. I hope what I said was helpful. The thing I will say, kind of my closing statement is AI is a tool. Use it when you need it. You wouldn't buy, if you just have a a little garden, vegetable garden in your front yard, you don't need to buy a huge, John Deere combine tractor for it.
Right.
But if you have, a 20-acre field, yeah, you want that. So use the tool when you think, yeah, I could use it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. All right. Thanks everybody for coming today. And
Thank you.
yeah, no class on Monday because of Labor Day. So see everyone on Tuesday. Okay. Bye-bye.